We see here on the right side where the fire was of high intensity. The canopy is consumed, and just across the street, no more than 40-45 feet, we see the canopy is unconsumed. Now, we can also take from this picture the destruction that occurred that we would expect from this high intensity crown fire. But on this other side where the crown fire didn't occur, we also see total destruction. So the question is, how does this happen? How does it happen that we have high intensity crown fire on one side, not on the other, but we still have total destruction? Well, what happens is that the crown fire comes into the neighborhood, and the fragmentation of the tree canopy that supports that high intensity crown fire occurs in the neighborhood. In other words, the canopy is not continuous. The streets, the houses themselves, the driveways, all of that goes to fragment the continuity of that canopy, and the crown fire can't spread with that discontinuity. But that doesn't necessarily mean that vulnerable houses aren't going to be destroyed. So one of the clues that we get with regard to how homes ignite from this particular photo is, well, on the right side, again, this is what we expect. Very likely there was engulfment of these structures from this high intensity fire. So a combination of the radiation and the convection, the flame contact from the high intensity fire indeed ignites that structure. But if we can't get the trees to ignite on this side, then how is it that these houses ignite and are destroyed? Well, there's only one thing left. There are only really two categorical ways that you can ignite something in this particular case. Either flames, radiation and convection, or firebrands, the burning embers that are lofted from that high intensity crown fire. And in this particular case, the only way that we can get these ignitions is from firebrands. The firebrands are landing, accumulating, and because this is high intensity, we can conclude that it was an extremely high exposure, a blizzard, if you will, of firebrands that is going to be landing in this neighborhood. And they're going to accumulate in nooks and crannies around the structure, and from that, they can generate ignitions. There are so many exposures, there are so many houses that are accumulating these firebrands, and because of life safety considerations for firefighters, that there is no intervention. The protection does not occur. The firefighters cannot engage to protect the structures. They ignite, and they are totally destroyed. So what can you do to keep the firebrands from igniting on the house? Well, the first thing we should be looking at is how much stuff do we have around the house? How many patio cushions do we have sitting on the deck? How much firewood might we have around the house? What kind of lumber storage do we have under the deck? Just things like that. Even as simple as hemp doormats welcoming our neighbors. Well, in this particular case, we don't want to welcome the firebrands. And so the hemp doormat ends up being a potential igniter of the structure. And so any place where a firebrand can accumulate and ignite, so that's flammable surfaces, and particularly inside corners, can produce glowing combustion. And then over time, that glowing combustion can work through the material, produce flaming combustion that then can rapidly involve the house.